I don't know how to focus this. You have to like do this crazy things. They've never seen this before. They've never touched it.
Can I begin?
Yeah, always.
Selected writings.
By Harold Abramowitz.
I found standards.
The roughshod ambulance man at my door.
There was a kind of hush.
Holding over me then.
You are foolish enough to answer my question.
The evidence is in the bag.
And then you hand it over to me and I take exception to the way it looks.
The evidence in the bag.
The whole way of looking at things.
There's a finality to the way the ambulance stops.
It puts its feet on the lounge.
And you are a real character, you know.
The sleeping speech.
The hints of character.
And then the whole world at your disposal.
A kind of hush.
Stalking the spirit wherever and whenever it may go.
But betting on science.
That kind of cadaver-like speech.
The whole quality ripped from the headlines.
Blood.
Galoshes.
A semblance of food swarm.
Of tissues taken.
We split our exceptions in half and take them to the store and rub them together and dream of better days.
The mercy ebbs and flows.
Fills volumes.
You were getting high on rubberized steak, on grams and grams of fat returned to heaven in parts.
And then you went to tell me to go and get fucked?
Well, that's not even me you're talking to.
Not even that.
And not even in heaven.
I have a voice, you know.
And all the cantilevers, all the volumes in heaven will never fill up a suitcase until the voice says exactly what it's supposed to say.
There is a kind of hush.
And you explode.
You ask for mercy.
There is no cooking.
At least not until tomorrow.
Because that's when the truck rolls in and there are decisions to be made.
But there is a letter waiting by the door.
There are new ways of saying old things.
Final and violating the pen, and only the pen.
But it does not ring true.
A kind of hush.
Hold your head up high.
There is a last minute reserved for speech.
The real recitation of the moment you stuck your head out the window and waved.
Reality is a vision of forgetting that you were born at the bottom of the book and there's no mercy for your character. That is, no mercy leave for wine or anyone of your character.
Your philosophy deserves to be dragged down.
And it is dragged down, and it is kicking and screaming and asking for mercy.
Hazing.
A new disaster.
And you call that the annals of science.
Mercy.
Release.
And you call that, or those, the annals of the world.
But I am not angry.
Not at all.
A kind of hush.
All over the world.
And then release.
So listen very carefully.
The only sound you will hear.
Each time reliving its mercy and honesty.
And then you say at the back of the bus, or car, or train, or truck, or train,
you believe in relief.
The whole list of things that were done then, at that time.
This was then.
And this was in the back of the bus, or truck, or train, or car.
The tile was blue or green.
There was a garden just outside the window.
I could hear the alarm sound early in the morning.
There was a chicken making
A
sounds.
hen, I think.
You were tinkering with dismay.
The whole conversation collapses around a story.
And you were taken hostage and instantly turned into nothing again.
But what is a fair opportunity?
Opinions regarding what is best for the making of a boy differ greatly.
Some assert that a child born with a silver spoon in its mouth is not likely to breathe as deeply and develop as well as one that is born without any such hindrance to full respiration.
Kind parents, a good home training, a chance to go to school, influential friends, good health, and someone to stand between you and the hard knocks of the world all serve to make a boy's surroundings truly enviable.
Under such conditions, any boy ought to win.
Yet some boys have won without these advantages.
Abraham Lincoln was born in very
There is nothing.
Boy wanted.
but dreams.
They tell you stories and they tell you beautiful things to set your name in sparks.
Resuscitate this motion, if you will.
I saw you driving a train and you were a specialist in science, new medicine, and all that.
Or that special something that starts shining over every element, so to speak.
A holistic way of looking at exactly what you want.
But the space program ended years ago.
And in the back room, far from the alley,
A view.
This view has always dismayed me.
I hear you speaking.
There is gas and lights, and every one of them knew what was around the corner.
In the house behind the garden, there was something I could have used.
I called you.
But in the end, the conflict wears me out.
I am in disgrace.
I have no knife.
I am angry because I cannot drive a car, and still you show me no mercy.
You have the best at your disposal.
Arousal.
Even then I live in debt, and your mercy is a violation of the promises I kept when I came to your house to eat and you weren't home.
You just weren't home.
There is no one missing you.
I use that word with increasing frequency.
And the guess.
And the getting.
And the gusts of wind that blow.
But the moment you want to let loose again, I'm gone, and with good reason.
but not interspersed with love or anything like that.
Let us say very definitively that we will not be making that mistake again.
We will not be making that supposition again.
It is standard.
This is the standard way I go about my business.
The intent of which is the reason I am here in your hands in the first place.
But that's not right.
It is the product of a project.
The product of a real imagination.
The product of being brought forth for the third time.
For the 1000th time.
You hold me, you hit me, you rub me the wrong way, and then you tell me to go away.
I was a good boy, though.
I really thought I was.
A genius?
And half a dozen other boys were starting with their pails to gather berries. Johnny's pa, in talking with him, said that he could tell him how to pick, so he'd come out ahead.
First find your bush, said Johnny's pa, and then stick to it until you picked it clean.
Let those go chasing all about who will in search of better bushes, but it's picking tells, my son. To look at 50 bushes doesn't count like picking one.
And Johnny did as he was told, and sure enough, he found by sticking to his bush while all the others chased around in search of better picking, it was as his father said, for while the others looked, he worked, and thus came out ahead.
And Johnny recollected this when he became a man, and first of all he laid him out a well-determined plan, so all the brilliant trifles failed with all
there is a kind of hush.
And you call it a violation.
the way I speak.
I put my hands up and try to remember to stop.
I stop you all the time, and I try to remember to stop holding on so hard to that thing I remember.
The whole world crushing me, my instinct.
My behavior.
And it is old science that is haunting me.
I try the new stuff.
I get interested in the new stuff.
There is a kind of hush, and you go on.
A certain smile.
Enough of this stuff of the heart, you say.
The knife and the bottle and the seams and the twists of yarn and the twists of fate and the circles of fate and the smoke in the sky.
The bold one that urges me on has come to this place to sit down and rest and tell me that there are many vacations that can be had if I put my head out the window and wave my hands and let myself be heard over the racket of war and the other phenomenon that rages and holds my feet to the fire.
I belong by the arms I've been given.
I took my arms out, but that was only to tell you.
The whole time there was a feature.
You are living in the fire.
You are demanding that I tell you every secret in the book.
And there is a black
A
box.
new way of looking.
And I tell you,
I want very much to tell you where it lives.
Where to find it.
to take the time out of this.
I want very much to tell you to take the time out of this and hold it in a box, or hold it up to the light and hold it and never shake it and never let more than an ounce of it spill out of the opening on top.
There were leaves or red bushes.
There was something green against the ground.
Their scene was vivid,
There was emerging.
And each and every time I looked, I tasted it again.
a reason,
I have a reputation to uphold.
Holding forth,
the soup,
The mushroom.
the vacation,
and there was a kind of hush.
A void.
each and every circumstance that will take your name and refer to you as one of the important working wheels in the machine.
A ruin,
The running ruler.
In your hand.
and you were running.
I was running.
They played games all day,
They played the way they were meant to play.
With guns.
holding something in their hands.
What they were playing with was sharp and mean and tiny.
It was flat.
There was something comfortable there.
They were lounging around and telling mean lies and lining things up.
The most distinct part of the circumstance was the motion of the moon.
They knew every human being by name.
There's a kind of hush all over the world today.
Today.
And there is sleeping,
Fire,
Jesus.
personal demons,
restraint.
Haircuts.
animals.
And 0 is the number of events that can be remembered at any given time.
And you know that.
You really know that.
I know that you know that.
There's a kind of hush.
You tell them not to look.
It holds you down at the exact moment you want to get up.
It is in your eyes.
You were telling them and they were listening to you.
Green chain.
And then you know the nature of the event is circular.
The event I was speaking of.
I was speaking of the event just now, and you rolled your eyes.
And at that point, no decision had yet been made.
There was a kind of hush.
A kind of trying to be free.
You lost that.
You've lost that loving feeling.
In the summertime,
I was rolling a log and I was facing west and there was a hiding place and a pin, and then the next time I saw you,
I was holding forth.
I call those my ankles.
which is to say that I call on my ankles all the time.
And it is almost exactly true, this holding forth, this model of exceptional circumstance.
The very putting it all together for the sake of a spine, for the sake of a pin, or as usual, for the sake of someone or something else.
Thank you.